Hi, this is Joanne Hewins from lovetocreate.typepad.com. Today we are going to make this snow globe card. It's really cute and not that hard to make. You can find the pieces for this on page 43 of the holiday catalog, and you have a stamp set. We're not using that one today, but you also have the snow globe scenes dies, the Snowflakes Sequins, and the snow globe shaker domes. So we will be using all of these three supplies. This is what the dies look like, and they're really pretty neat. And I hate to say this, you don't really have to have the stamp set. You can still do a lot of good things with the dies, although you just may want that stamp set to enhance the dies that you have. So far, we are going to need a card base of Night of Navy. This is 5.5 by 8.5. I haven't scored this one, so I'm just going to match my corners on that and then push this down, and then I'll get my bone folder to burnish that fold. Next, I have a piece of Seaside Spray, and that will fit on like this, and it is 4 by 5.25. And then we have this piece that is 3 3/4 by 5. All of those measurements will be on my video or on my blog post, and there'll be a link to that in the description of my video. So what I have done already is I have taken from the dies this snow globe piece. This is the size of the snow globe. And I have taken it to my cutting machine and cut that out. Now I went up a little bit above the, so that the globe would be toward the top of the card, because you have the base of the globe that's going to come down below it. You want to have room for that. And I also looked at side to side to make sure that that was as even as I could get it. After I cut out the hole, then I ran this through the die cutting machine with my swirls and curls die embossing folder. Not die, but embossing folder. So let's get started. What I'm going to do now is pull in a piece of this paper from the Christmas Gleaming Suite, I believe. And ideally, it would be best if I had a piece that was just a little bit smaller than this piece. It would be easy with placement. But I had a class, I had quite a few people in the class, and I needed to cut this smaller. So what I'm going to do is kind of place that in the middle of there. I'm going to leave it laying here flat, and I'm going to trace around this with my pencil. That way I'm going to know where to put all the stuff that's going to fill up the snow globe. Now, without moving it, I'm going to turn it around, and I'm going to trace around this paper right here. And that's going to help me know where to put it when I put everything together. Okay, that's on the back. So I'm going to turn this around and begin to fill in my snow globe. Now, with the dies, I have cut out the trees out of the glimmer paper. So that's ready to go. And then I've also cut out the church. The church has 2 pieces to it, and I cut that out of Whisper White. So here are those pieces. And that's all that I'm going to need, except for some copper scraps. So I'm going to go ahead and just glue in the trees. So let me put a little bit of glue on that. And I know that you won't be able to see my pencil lines, but I'm going to put it right in here so that it's right within the pencil lines that I have drawn. And now we want to work with the church. And we want to have some copper behind these windows so they look like they are shining. And let me mention something about the trees while I'm here. On my original, I cut out this middle tree because I thought it might interfere with the church. But since it's two different kinds of paper, I've decided for this one I'm going to leave it in. And I think we're going to put this church on dimensionals, which I did not do for the first one. Okay, I have cut some strips and I'm using some scraps to put behind the church. In fact, for my class, I went ahead and cut out the base for everyone. And so I had scraps like this from cutting out the base. And I thought, why throw that away? We can use this. And, you know, the copper is a little bit more expensive. So I'm going to turn this church over and I'm going to add some glue in there. And this little piece of copper that's about 1 inch times maybe 3/8 of an inch is going to fit just right on top of that area of the church. So if I turn it over now, that has its glow. We need something for up here. I'm going to add a little bit of glue and we're just going to cut a piece of this copper to put there. I think this might be a little too wide. I'm just going to give it a little shave right in there. And this will fit just right up in there. I may have to cut the end of it. I'm going to trim the end of that off that's sticking out. Okay, so that part is done and we need to cover up those windows. So I'm going to add again just a little bit of glue around there. And I think I'm going to come over here and get some of this. For that. So I'm just using some of my scraps and we'll put this over that area and we'll put this over this area. And then when we turn that over, that is glowing. So I'll just push that out of the way. We're going to add a little bit of glue just straight down the middle of the church. And these two pieces that stick out here will adhere right over where they're sticking out on this other part. So that's how I know how to put that together. And you do want to kind of center it. And this front part comes down just a little below the other part. So now I'm going to add some dimensionals to the back of that. And I'm not going to worry too much about the steeple. Hopefully it will be all right. Okay, so we're going to add this right there. And I don't think that having the church, I'm trying to say the trees back there will detract too much from the church. Okay, let's talk about the snow globe. I'm going to pull in an embossing buddy and just go over the inside. Hopefully that will take out some of the static that the globe would have. And this has sticky on the top and sticky on the bottom. I'm going to take the sticky off of the top. And I'm just going to put this right over the globe and just kind of press around that. And now I'm going to turn this over and I'm going to put in some of the Snowflakes Sequins. in there. And then put the lid back on that. I'm also going to add a little bit of this ice stamping glitter. Let's see, I've got some that came out. I'm going to add those back in. Excuse me for licking my finger. And then we're going to put some of this in there too. All right, and leaving this upside down, because you know if you turn it over it's all going to fall out. I'm going to get this sticky off, and then you remember how we traced where this needed to go, so I'm going to make sure it's the right side up. I don't want an upside down church in there, and I'm going to add this to where we traced, and then I'm going to push down where the sticky of the globe, you can kind of feel it, is. Okay, so now we have our shaker part in there. Isn't that pretty? Very pretty. Okay, now we're going to put the rest of our card together. So I'm going to bring back in the Night of Navy and the Seaside Spray, and we're going to glue down this part. Now I get opposite corners and just kind of try to place it so that everything's even as best I can. And then we're also ready to add this part to the card. So you can see really not hard at all, as long as you remember the steps. It's not hard at all. Okay, now let's work with the base of the snow globe. Now it has a base that you can cut out, and if you use the stamp set, you can stamp that base and cut it out, or it also has one that's a little more ornate, and so that's what I used. I cut the bottom base from a piece that looks like wood, and I'm just going to admit to you that this is that retired wood designer 6x6 paper that we had last year. I just love that, and I had it left over and I thought it was perfect. There is in the come together part paper that's in the annual catalog or the holiday catalog now. You can there's some wooden pieces in there is what I'm trying to say that you can use. Now, I don't know why this is, but on the back of this copper, there's kind of a film on there. I don't think the others have that, and if you can get that to where it's coming up a little bit, you can kind of carefully peel that away, and these pieces seem to come out a little bit better if you do that. Of course, it's going to stick to your fingers. But otherwise, it's going to kind of get in the way of getting all these pieces out. It just doesn't want to come away or come out as easily. So I don't know if you can tell that that's got some of that plastic or backing around it or not, but let me go ahead and try to get these little pieces out of here. Probably an easier way. I could use my brush for this, but I just don't have it in here with me right now. Now you can, I don't know if you can see that film sticking down Can you see what I peeled off? And there's actually a little bit in here. What I'm saying is this does come out a little bit easier if for some reason you can peel that off and get it out of the way. So this is taking a little bit longer than I had meant for it to, but it's coming. Almost done. And of course the little film wants to stick to my fingers. Okay, I think I've got it. And I'm going to try just brushing this out of the way. And of course, some little pieces. Okay, and I'm going to turn this over and just use some of this glue. And this will just stick right to the wood. So it's going to look like it has a wooden base that's been decorated with copper. As I think some of them are. And then we're just going to put glue on the back of this. And, excuse my fingers, and we'll glue this underneath the globe. So pretty easy. Let's bring back in the first one that we did. Okay. Now on this one, I made a star out of copper, but I think instead of using this copper star, that I'm going to bring in these star elements, and we're going to add one of those to the card. Let me pull these out, and I'll just pick one up and put it up in there, and that will take care of that. I think that really looks pretty with that element there. And then we want to work on our saying. So I have a piece of the Seaside Spray metallic ribbon, and I'm going to add this to the card. And what I'm going to do is get some glue dots, and hopefully I can get those on the back. I've kind of gotten this folded on itself, and I'm adding 2 glue dots side by side so it will get both of those pieces of the fold. And I'm going to just add that down in here, and then I will cut my ends of my ribbon. And I don't have my ribbon scissors with me. I do keep a pair that has a little bow on it that I know is for ribbon. Okay, and then we want to do our saying. Now the saying for this, and I've just got some scraps of white from cutting insides for cards. The saying for this is Blessed Christmas Wishes, and this is from the Itty Bitty Christmas set right here, Blessed Christmas Wishes. So let me stamp that in Night of Navy, and we're going to hope I get it straight. If we don't, I've got lots of scraps. I usually make my customers use these little pieces, but I tell them I've got so many that if they need more than one, it's okay, and I think that's fine. Okay, and then I'm going to trim the ends of this, and I'm using a retired octagon punch to do the ends. I just got used to doing that and have continued. You can also use the triple banner punch to clip those ends. And then I am going to add this banner with some dimensionals, cutting them in half. I could use the mini dimensionals. I just don't have any right in here with me right now. And then this is going to go across the card like this. And I do think that I could probably cut these a little bit shorter, and when I have my ribbon scissors, I think I'll do that. Move that over a little. Okay, so I will cut that a little bit shorter. Now for the inside of the card, I have used a saying and some stars from the So Many Stars set. I'll show you that in just a second. However, I made my card, put this in, and closed my card right away. And I don't know, I think you could probably see that I have the some of the star here on the inside. And you probably don't want that. I would just let this dry briefly before you add that in and close it up. So this is the So Many Stars stamp set, and we're going to be using the Oh Holy Night, the stars are brightly shining, and then these stars. And we'll be doing that with the copper. So let me use the Night of Navy first. And we will stamp the saying. And I was worried. See how I got some of the ink right there on the corner? And there it is. So be careful about that. I should have wiped that away before I stamped. In fact, I'm going to turn it on the back. I am going to wipe it away. Sorry, here's a Kleenex. And let me try that again. Okay. Better. And then I'm going to bring in the Delicata Celestial Copper ink pad. Now, I hate to tell you this, but this is part of the holiday catalog. And many things in the holiday catalog are while supplies last, especially here as the Christmas season gets closer. So these inks will not be available for very long. I think a few of the refills may already be gone, but after they are sold out, they are gone. So I'm just going to add some of the stars there. And then I'm not going to go ahead and glue that into my card yet. I'm going to wait. So here's the outside of the card. Here's the inside of the card. And I really, really think that this is beautiful. I think that I really like having the church on dimensionals. I think that just adds a little bit to that card that wasn't there before. And then on the original, here is the inside in there. Okay, thanks so much. If you need any supplies to make this card, you can go to lovetocreate.typepad.com. I'll be happy to help you. There will be in the description of this video a link to my blog post that goes with it. If I can help you in any way, please, please, please let me know. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.